Elemental applications and reactions are two core mechanics in Genshin Impact. Not only can you apply elements to enemies, but you can also find yourself at the mercy of the environment and enemy elemental attacks. One moment you're strolling across a river that applies wet to your character, and the next, the cryo slime freezes you solid. Characters like Barbara can apply elements to your on-field character in addition to enemies. If you use her as your main healer, Barbara can be a real pain when fighting cryo enemies or when attempting abyss levels with consistent cryo application, but not all self-application is bad. Xinyan easily cleanses elements with her skill, so she pairs well with Barbara on those abyss floors. On the other hand, when it comes to self-application, Jean's burst makes her an absolute beast, being able to play an Uno reverse card to swirl applied elements back against enemies. With slimes being the only enemies completely immune to this, Jean's utility clearly extends past crowd control, healing, and VV shred. Let's see if we can find a pairing for Jean that starts to fill out a team comp. Our first step will be to scour Teyvat in search of any vision holder able to dunk themselves in their own element. We've already mentioned Barbara and Xinyan, but searching far and wide has revealed 5 others: Beidou, Diona, Xingqiu, Dori, and Bennett. Next up, we need to put each character through rigorous testing to ensure only the best of the best make it through to the next round. But with 7 characters to work through, we'll probably be here all day. Here goes. So for the first test, we need our characters not only to apply an element to themselves, but to keep that element for long enough to make use of Jean's self-swirl. So, going down the list, Barbara, Xinyan, Beidou, Diona, and Xingqiu only apply their element to themselves for a fraction of a second, leaving only 2 viable characters left in the pool. As rich as she may be, Dori is certainly stingy when it comes to applying team buffs. After using her burst, Dori will heal your on-field character, constantly apply Electro to them, and generate a small amount of energy over time. Due to a general lack of utility, Dori isn't the best character to pair with Jean, but keep an eye out for another video about her in the future. As the best 4-star character in the game, Bennett brings incredible value to any team he's on. Kind of ironic for the unluckiest adventurer in all of Teyvat. His elemental skill has a short cooldown, and his burst provides incredible support to his teammates, including boosting damage, healing, and applying pyro to your characters. While most of these buffs are enough to land him in plenty of rotations, it's the last one that secures him a spot with Jean. Next, let's talk about timing. Whether it's asking your parents for their car keys so you can make it to some high school party, or asking your crush to prom, timing can make or break your plans. We run into very similar problems with Jean and Bennett. I'll be referring to this by its actual official community name, Sunfire Jean, from now on. A quick look at each burst and a quick test will reveal the best order.
Wait, hear me. I'm going in. Teamwork is strict. Barbados, guide us.
Bennett's burst first, then Jean's. If you do it in the opposite order, you'll lose out on 1 pyro swirl, and we can't have that. When done correctly, Jean's burst will swirl the pyro 5 times. Next up, finding them some friends. The number 1 issue when setting up Sunfire Jean is interruption. Let me paint you a picture here. You run up with Bennett just to burst and get slapped to the ground and lose precious time to activate Jean's elemental burst. While dodging is technically possible using iframes, shielding is much more viable. Noelle, Layla, and Xinyan can work for the team, but by far the best shielder in the game is Zhongli. By popping a shield before entering combat, both Bennett and Jean can flawlessly use their bursts, dramatically increasing the consistency of the Sunfire strategy. Additionally, dropping Zhongli's pillar a little bit away from the enemies ensures that no crystallized reactions will occur. So we have our shielder, 2 healers, an attack buffer, VV shred, consistent pyro application with their characters. Last and certainly not least is your flex spot, which I think is best filled with a DPS with decent elemental mastery. This won't work for Pyro characters, since the only boost unique to them would be the Pyro Defense Shred from Jean, and almost any other element would end up working better. Here are the characters that I tested. If you don't see your favorite listed, it's probably because I don't have them yet. In no particular order, they are Tartaglia, Xingqiu, Ganyu, Rosaria supported by Zhongyun, Kaya, with Fischl sometimes replacing Zhongli, Kale, Tighnari, Nahida, Beidou, Fischl, and Razor. For each character, I ran the team through floor 4 of the Spiral Abyss, the last Abyss floor that only needs 4 characters to complete. Since there is a very heavy Hydro Slime and Abyss Mage presence, I expected the Hydro characters to struggle, so to be fair, I tested each team against one Rune Guard as well. Chambers 1 and 3 of floor 4 are timed, while Chamber 2 requires you to defend an obelisk while defeating all the enemies. How well a character does on a chamber is determined by either how much time is left or how much health the obelisk has when all enemies have been defeated. Here are the top 5 characters for each chamber. Chamber 1, Nahida, Fischl, Beidou, Ganyu, and Kaya. Chamber 2, Ganyu, Kaya, Nahida, Rosaria with Zhongyun, and Fischl. Chamber 3, Razor, Fischl, Nahida, Beidou, and Tighnari. When you average out all these numbers together, your top 5 becomes Nahida, Ganyu, Fischl, Kaya, and Beidou rounding it out. Ganyu coming in second to Nahida comes as a surprise to me, since I have basically god tier artifacts for Ganyu as well as an R1 ammo spell. Reevaluating my average, I decided to weight calculation towards Chamber 2, as it's much more difficult to defend the obelisk, crowd control, and set up effective Sunfire bursts all at the same time. Not to mention, Sunfire Ganyu has become my main comp and wrecks every enemy in the game with very few exceptions. With this recalculation, here are the results. In 5th place comes Rosaria and Zhongyun, 4th, Fischl, 3rd is Kaya, 2nd is Ganyu, and 1st place goes to Nahida. Somehow Nahida was able to do so well on Chambers 1 and 3 that she outweighed Ganyu's incredible 91% obelisk health for Chamber 2. Does this mean Nahida should replace Ganyu on my main team? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Revisiting the potential flaw in this test, let's see how well Xingqiu and Tartaglia did on each chamber. Keep in mind that I tested with 11 different teams. In Chamber 1, Xingqiu came in 8th and Tartaglia 11th. Chamber 2, Xingqiu came in 9th and Tartaglia 11th. And Chamber 3, Xingqiu came in 9th and Tartaglia 11th. Keeping in mind that I'm still learning how to play Tartaglia, it's clear that the Hydro enemies on the Abyss floor really skewed the results, so another round of testing is in order, and I really need Rune Guard drops. Rune Guards aren't the most difficult enemy in the game, but they do pose a challenge to early game players, so it's important to keep your team composition in mind. However, the longest time one of my Sunfire teams took to defeat a Rune Guard was 61 seconds. So without further ado, let's go over our top 5 for Rune Guard testing. Kale came in at number 5, Kaya at 4, Beidou at 3, number 2 was Fischl, and number 1, you guessed it, was Ganyu. Ganyu is clearly the best character for this situation, as her team took 12 seconds to defeat the Rune Guard, and that was not optimal, the runner-up being Fischl, who took over twice as long. Now to get an overall reading of which team is best, I compared each team to the number 1 in each test, meaning that in the first test, Nahida was considered the standard and Ganyu for the second. Taking that into account, here are the final rankings. At number 4, we have Beidou. At number 3, we have Kaya. Fischl comes in at number 2, and number 1 is Ganyu. I skipped number 5 there because Nahida comes in at 5, you didn't want to spoil it. So it's clear, Ganyu still deserves the first slot on my Sunfire Jean rotation. Nahida is a suitable replacement, but Jean and Bennett are a cracked combo even when combined with a free character like Kaya. Thanks for watching. If you think another character would fit well into the Sunfire rotation, leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.